I'll give you a little kind of synopsis of the book and why I wrote it, and then really open it up to these two gentlemen that really, worked the case. Yeah.
Great.
Lack of any investigation into what happened. McKay pulled him over, ordered him into a dirty little parking lot.
5 years ago, I went to his superior.
Who, McKay?
Taylor. Yeah.
McKay Superior? Okay.
Yeah.
And who was that?
Taylor.
Uh-huh.
And I said, get rid of him. He's a danger to the department and the town. And what happened after that was he apparently, because I followed up with Taylor, I said, so what happened to all that? He said he went to the chief and he both went and talked to him, and he said, oh, they're just giving me a hard time. Leave me alone. And that's how he got out of everything. I mean, the whole thing with Lisbon, the dust-up over there, taking the frequencies out of his radio, banning him from going through there, doing police work out of district. It's all part of his history. And he was a rogue in every sense, to other law enforcement and to people, particularly young men and women. The weak, the ones that hurt. But anyway, that's just a little background. And he was bad, and there's no question. And anyone in law enforcement that says he's one of them is getting on the wrong side.
In my journey, I found a number of things that were very alarming about the way that New Hampshire law enforcement investigated this case. And I found parallels to other cases. There's a Michael Paulhus case in Nashua where there was a use of police force. This time we know the officer fired his weapon, but what we don't know is the trajectories or anything like that because all the evidence was destroyed. So, make a long story short, I ended up suing the Attorney General's office and a couple of other entities, including the Franconia Police, under Right to Know Act. And I got a lot of information out of that. And, some videos that they didn't want to give us. I have the actual sound file from 5/11 that could probably be researched further to see what happens after the point where Lico drives off. So that could be analyzed. And I got that through litigation and just a number of other documents. There were complaints, ethics complaints were filed against Bruce McKay by Troy Watts. He was Lico's attorney. Troy sent me an email describing all of this, but yet they couldn't find the ethics complaint. And I mean, these were serious issues that were brewing for a long time. The situation that
private detective came up, talked to me for a while, and then hired me to work for him. And together the two of us put in the next year of just gathering all the complaints we possibly could dig up, verbal, recording them, and everything else. And
against Bruce McKay, you're saying?
Against Bruce McKay, elements that had stayed secret pretty much for the general public, because these were reports that were filed with the Chief of Police, with the Board of Selectmen, with Kelly Ayotte, the Attorney General. And the amazing thing was, nothing seemed to have been done. In my eyes, and I'm jumping over a big fence at this point, I think that there are several people who are culpable of malfeasance, not completing their duty in the way they should have, because with the information they had about this guy, they had to say, get him out of uniform, get him out of the service. He doesn't belong there.
A woman who was in the back of McKay's squad car, and she alleged, and this woman is a criminal justice major, and she's a teacher, well-respected person who was married to a police officer from another town that I won't say. At any rate, Bruce had her in the back of the car and took this, she called it a penis-shaped knife. It was a non-spec knife, and it was an alleged DUI. She said, Bruce, I'm not drunk. Why are you doing this to me? And he had her in the handcuff and took this knife and cut her seatbelt off with it in such a way that it was kind of, going in a private area. And so she said to him, Bruce, what are you doing? What are you doing? And that is the exact same thing. The last two words out of Lico Kenny's mouth were probably, what are you doing? What are you doing? We can hear him say that on the video when he's OC sprayed without a warning. And so, to sum up, this is the kind of activity that was going on.
McKay pulled him over, ordered him into a dirty little parking lot, and as he does that, he pushes his car in several times violently, jumps out of his car with a can of OC spray, pepper spray, soaks Lico Kenny and his passenger Caleb McCauley. Greg Floyd says, "No, don't worry about me. I kill for the government. This is my 23rd kill, and this is my 43rd kill." And he's just, giving you these delusional comments that say, you know what, something is amiss here and something needs to be investigated a little more closely, which was never done because immediately that night, the Attorney General of New Hampshire said, here's the situation. You've got a bad kid, a hero cop, and a good Samaritan saves the day. But when I got involved in this case, and I met people like, Chris King, Brad Whipple, and I also met people, members of the McKay family who have their own story to tell. I understood that there was a little more at stake here. Lico Kenny drove forward and ran into him. Not only once, but he did it twice. Now, supporters of Lico will say, well, his eyes were clouded by pepper spray and he couldn't see where he was going, which I understand the first time. But the second time implies intent on Lico's part. It's true. We'll debate this, Chris.
Floyd's son said that he didn't strike him the first time, but he stopped and backed up, and that's the official record. So there should be investigation into that.
See, Chris is as I said, he's been a thorn in the side of law enforcement on behalf of the Kenny family, as has Brad Whipple. And then what I think brought these two together, and what brought me to the story was the lack of any investigation into what happened on May 11th, 2007. Thank you to my family. There are also other people I have to point out tonight that literally helped with the book. Chris King. He sent some documents my way when the trail ran cold. Thank you very much.
All right, man.